Anthropic just quietly admitted something a little wild. 65% of their product team's code is now written by an AI that lives inside their Slack. You don't open a chat window. You just mention it, like a coworker. Type what you need in plain English and walk away while it does the work. It's called Claude Tag, and it launched today. There's just one catch. It's locked to big enterprise customers. So I spent today figuring out how to build the same thing yourself with tools you can actually get your hands on. By the end of this, you'll have the full blueprint for your own AI teammate in Slack. First, what Anthropic actually shipped, because the design is the whole lesson. Claude Tag lets Claude join your Slack as a team member. You give it access to specific channels, and you connect it to whatever tools, data, and even code bases you choose. Then, anyone in that channel can tag it with a request in plain terms. And it breaks that request into stages, works through them one by one using the tools it has access to, and replies right there in a Slack thread with whatever it created. It's not a separate chatbot you visit. It lives where the work already happens. And it runs on Anthropic's top model, Opus 428. Here's what turns it from a chatbot into a teammate. Anthropic lists 4 behaviors. First, it's multiplayer. There's one shared Claude in the channel, so anyone can see what it's working on and pick up the conversation right where the last person left off. Second, it learns over time. As it follows the channel, it builds context, so you stop explaining the same things over and over, and it will not read your private channels. Third, it takes initiative. Switch on what they call ambient mode, and it proactively flags things you might need to know and follows up on threads that went quiet. And fourth, it works asynchronously. Hand it a task, go do something else, and it can even schedule work for itself over hours or days. Now, why should you care if you can't even use it yet? Because of that number. Anthropic says 65% of their product team's code is now created by the internal version of this thing. And it's spreading well beyond engineering. They're tagging Claude to chase down product metrics, work through support tickets, and even find the root cause of tricky bugs. They literally call it the next evolution of Claude Code. The real story here isn't one product launch. It's a shift. AI is moving from a chatbot you go and visit to a teammate that lives inside the place your team already works. So here's the wall you're going to hit. Claude Tag is in beta, and it's only for Claude Enterprise and team customers. Administrators have a 30-day window to migrate off the old Claude in Slack app. There are introductory launch credits, and it runs on Opus 408. Translation: if you're a solo builder, a creator, or a small scrappy team, you can't just switch it on. But here's the good news, and it's the whole point of this video. Nothing about the idea is locked. Every single piece you need to build your own version is public and available right now. Let me show you exactly how. Here's what we're actually building. A bot that lives in your Slack, that you mention like a coworker, that calls Claude under the hood, uses real tools, remembers your channel, and can even speak up on its own. I'm going to break it into 4 pillars, and each one maps directly onto a Claude Tag superpower. And there are 2 paths through this. A developer path with a little code and a no-code path if you have never opened a terminal in your life. I'll show you both. Every command and setting stays up on screen, so you can pause, read it, and copy it exactly. Pillar 1 is the code loop. You mention it, it replies. You create a Slack app and use Slack's own official toolkit called Bolt. There's a version for JavaScript and one for Python, both on screen. You subscribe to a single event that fires whenever someone mentions your bot, and you grant it just 2 permissions. One to hear those mentions, and one to post replies. When a mention comes in, you take the text, send it to Claude using Anthropic's library with the Opus 4.8 model, and post the answer straight back into the same Slack thread. For testing on your own laptop, you turn on socket mode, so you don't even need a public server. For real production use, Slack recommends the Events API over the web instead. That loop Right there is your teammate's heartbeat. A teammate that can only talk is useless. Pillar 2 is tools, and this is exactly what MCP, the Model Context Protocol, was built for. It's the open standard that lets Claude actually use your tools and data, your GitHub, your database, even Slack itself, instead of just chatting about them. Now, here's an honest catch most videos skip. Slack did ship an official MCP server, and it's powerful, but it's gated. Only published or internal apps can use it. So, a quick unlisted hobby app can't just plug in. So, the realistic move is this: wire up MCP servers for the tools you control, and for Slack's own messages, read the channel history. Through Slack's normal API tools are what turn your bot from talking about the work to actually doing it. Pillar 3 is memory, the learns over time part. Out of the box, your bot forgets everything the moment it replies. There are 3 ways to fix that, and I'll go simplest first. Option 1: every time it's mentioned, pull the recent channel or thread history and feed it back in as context. That costs you nothing extra, and it's shockingly effective. Option 2: for real long term recall, save messages and short summaries into a vector database, then pull back only the relevant pieces for each question. That's retrieval, and it's the closest do it yourself version of it learned our whole channel. Option 3: Claude's own memory tool, where you hand it a memory folder it can read from and write to. Start with option 1. You can always graduate later. Pillar 4 is the one that feels like actual magic, and it's the hardest: ambient mode, speaking up without being asked. The secret is realizing that being mentioned isn't your only possible trigger. You run a scheduled job, a simple time task that wakes up on its own, asks Claude, is there anything the team should know, and posts a short digest. You can watch channel activity so it notices a thread that went silent. You can even let it schedule its own follow ups. But be honest with yourself here. A teammate that reads everything and speaks up on its own is burning tokens around the clock. So put a hard cap on your spending from day one. That part is not optional, it's survival. Never opened a terminal? You can still build this today with zero code. Use a free open source tool called N8N. The whole recipe is 3 building blocks. 1. A Slack trigger that fires when someone messages or mentions your bot. 2. The Anthropic chat model block, dropped into N8N's AI agent node and set to Claude. That's your brain. 3. A Slack block that sends the reply back. You literally drag them onto a canvas and connect them with lines. No code at all. And if you prefer make.com, it has its own Slack and Claude modules that follow the exact same pattern. So whether or not you write code, an AI teammate is genuinely within your reach. Now, let me be completely straight with you because hype helps nobody. A few things about Claude Tag are genuinely hard to copy. That shared identity, one Claude that blends everyone's context, but still respects who is allowed to see what, is real engineering. True ambient behavior means running a reliable, always on loop that actually knows what's still unresolved. And security matters a lot. A bot with a broad access token can quietly read far more of your workspace than you intended. So scope its permissions tight and keep watching the bill. Anthropic runs all of that hard part for you. Your do it yourself version trades a bit of that polish for one huge thing: you actually own it, and you can start building it tonight. Okay, quick honest moment. Most of you watching this right now are not subscribed. The analytics are genuinely a little brutal. So if any of this was useful to you, take 1 second and hit subscribe here on YouTube and follow Hyper Automation Labs over on Instagram and Facebook too, because I do the boring reading so you get the honest version. Now, I package this entire build into a free 1-page blueprint. All 4 pillars, the exact Slack permissions, and the no-code recipe on a single sheet. Just comment the word SIDEKICK and I'll send it straight to you, or grab it at the link below. And if you build with this stuff seriously, my 4 guides on Claude Code, Codex, Claude Cowork for Sales, and the certification prep kit go much deeper. The links are all in the description. I'll see you in the next one.